Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 182 for the 24th of August. So the updates from 24th of August come from 25th of August, so comes on 25th of August. So now we are going into 26th, which in a few hours time, maybe half a day's time, we will see reports for the 25th coming out from the Ministry of Defenses. So now this is the 24th of August, the 182 day summary, and let's start off with missile strikes. So the yesterday yesterday's summary, I mentioned that there are rumors or reports saying that a Ukrainian airbase was hit, and this was confirmed by the Russian Ministry of Defense that the Ukrainian airbase at Myrhorod, this one, has been struck by Russian Air Force weapons, so should be Air Force missiles. 5 combat aircraft of the Ukrainian Air Force were hit while they are on the ground, and 1 Sukhoi 27 and 1 Sukhoi 24 have been destroyed. Another 2 Sukhoi 27 and 1 Sukhoi 24 was critically damaged, and reportedly 30 soldiers were killed in this missile strike. So very interesting how they get the numbers. And there is also a missile strike on another airbase. This time around, this airbase is actually at the Dnipro, where 3 aircraft is destroyed on the ground as well. So this seems to be a coordinated attack to suddenly strike on the Ukrainian air assets in a surprise attack in a way. So they probably have been doing intel gathering for some time to be able to confirm that these aircraft are actually on the ground. If not, aircraft take off actually quite quickly. While if they actually get information that there is a missile strike coming in their direction. There's also another strike. There's also another missile strike here. There's a missile strike on this railway station at Chaplyne. So Chaplyne railway station was hit by Iskander missiles. Reportedly over 200 Ukrainian soldiers were killed and 10 equipment was destroyed. These troops and equipment are on the way to the Donetsk Front. And if I'm not wrong, the Ukrainian leadership say that this is a civilian train that is hit. And then there are some footages coming out claiming that is not the case. Either way, this is what is reported by the Ministry of Defense of Russia. I think that is the 3 missile strikes that I want to talk about. And let's move on to the Southern Front. So at the Southern Front, there is no... So this one is also should be great. So there is no major ground offensive happening. There's only artillery strikes or shellings. And the number of shellings you see seems to have reduced. You see everything is grayed out. This is because the Ukrainian Defense Ministry did not report specific locations of shelling being executed on their position. They only say there is shelling across the entire front line, which is like a lazy way of saying that I'm lazy to write. There are just too many locations. So which is a sign that a lot of settlements are getting shelled, which is why the Ukraine Defense Ministry did not want to report on the specific locations. So we do not have specific information. All this information that we have come from Ryba, the pro-Russian source, and even this information might actually be a little bit outdated, given that these are actually airstrikes. So these are only airstrikes, and some of them are missile strikes or shellings on reported by the Ministry of Defense of Russia. So you can actually explore the map yourself. You can find the link in the description below to find out what are these specific ones. Now at the Deputy Breed front, the fighting reported at Lozove was not reported further anymore. So it looks like this defeat, so-called by this defeat of the crossing, seems to be rather serious, and we didn't see anything more from this anymore. So there continue to be a report of attacks and there is I think the airstrike. Yes, there's also an airstrike carried out on Krasnisia. So that it suggests that there might be this interest from the Russian side to continue to push back the Ukrainian forces over in this region. Coming to the Kharkiv front, we do not have any ground offensive. The fighting reported at Visokopilya is no longer repeated, and interestingly, there is a airstrike on Kharkiv itself, it's missile strike on Kharkiv itself, in the metallurgical district. So that's all from the southern front. And if you're interested in this, in the Kakhovka hydropower plant, there is reports of HIMARS fired at it. Not sure how many shells, because the Russian Ministry of Defense actually sum up everything. 19 shells across Kakhovka hydropower plant, Kherson, and Donetsk cities. So not sure how many shells is actually fired upon this location. So that's all from the southern front. Going to the Zaporizhzhia region, so first going to this critical area of the Myrhorod city and the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. So there is shelling again reported at Myrhorod and the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, and they said that 7 large caliber artillery strikes were hit against the nuclear power plant, and the shelling was reportedly fired from Dnipro, Yevhenivka, Mahanets, and this very hard to pronounce Vyshetarasivka. So and Russian artillery returned fire to suppress all this firing. So, and but there is finally some the results coming out from this Ukrainian shelling. According to Intel, they reported that there is a power outage at Zaporizhzhia region due to the short circuit caused by the fires by the shelling of the Ukrainian forces. So the security system worked at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant after the outage, and a reconnection was made. So the engineers promptly worked to restore power supply. So from another source, from Ryba, I read that the power supply was first restored to Myrhorod itself, but I think there's still other parts of Zaporizhzhia actually did not have power. So this is also the first time the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant was completely disconnected from the power grid, according to the Energo Atom, and according to the authorities as well, 2 power units of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant were switched off as a result of emergency protection operation. So things are getting quite serious here at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Shelling continues to happen on this region, and the rest of Zaporizhzhia is now having some power issues now due to this shelling. And let's see, whether the IAEA or the international community will do anything about this thing. Reportedly, the French defense minister has been talking to the Russian defense minister regarding the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant issue, and also, they also talk about sending specialists or inspectors to this Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant for inspection. So moving on to the Zaporizhzhia line, we do not have a ground offensive also. It's been a rather quiet day. However, there is still shellings across the entire Zaporizhzhia line. You can see all the red explosion icons all across the entire line, and there is also new disputes. Now, Ukrainian MOD claims control over Shcherbaky. They also claim control over Novodanylivka, and they also claim control over Bulatske, which is actually here, which is kind of like very out of the way, suddenly, so far away from the front line. And this is the second time they reported shelling in this position. So Bulatske, and I'm not when I search Bulatske, this is the location that it turns out. So unless you guys know better, do point me to the correct coordinates. Otherwise, this mapping is going to look really weird. So because this is really far away from the understood front line, around 15 kilometers away. So but anyway, there is a shelling reported over there according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry. Otherwise, we have quite intense shelling over here at the very end of the line at the Velika Novosilka region. Novosilka, Dnipro as well as Shevchenko is shelled. So is Yevhenivka and Velika Novosilka. So this entire region is heating up. And we're not sure if what is the Russians' plans, or they are just going to do fire defeats on the Ukrainian forces, or are they going to push out, to stop all this situation that they are facing. But the Russians don't really seem very interested to do offensive in this region, because it's not very easy to defend in this area, because they do not control enough territory over on the eastern side. So pushing up north, having a bulge or the salient is not a very good idea for the Russian forces. Over to the Donetsk Front, and at the Donetsk Front, all the fighting that you see, all the icons, the fighting icons are all grayed out because there is also no ground offensive. Like I mentioned yesterday, it might be a case where the Russians are having some form of mass rotation. Definitely there are some troops that are still staying, especially those Donetsk and Luhansk troops, but there is some kind of rotation happening, or else we are not going to see so quiet. See all these grayed out offenses, all these offensive are all grayed out and are not happening. However, the artillery troops are still continue to be very busy. And another dispute over here at Yevhenivka. And this is very interesting because this is another one of those weird, like just like the Myrhorod one I mentioned yesterday. The Russian Ministry of Defense mentioned that the firing positions of D-30 Hawk Weasels were suppressed in Yevhenivka, which is actually Yevhenivka. So we have this middle finger popping out from this. You see, this is like a feast. This is a feast, then the feast, and then put out the middle finger and then point it to the Russians. And at the end of the finger, there's an explosion. So yeah, this middle finger is very disturbing, because it's yet another one of those possible capture by the Ukrainian forces, which was never reported by anyone. Very weird. I'm not sure if this is the case, or is it a misreporting. I have no idea. Or is it because there is really some very good Ukrainian offenses that was very successful and it's not reported by anyone? So very weird. And then we have also another dispute for Volodymyrivka. Volodymyrivka previously, once upon a time, was under Ukrainian control probably a month ago, and now there's a dispute again that they claim shelling at this position. This is by the Ukraine Defense Ministry. So a lot of mystery happening over in this region, and shellings continue to report across this entire Novodanylivka line, and there is also airstrikes on Myrhorod. So despite the Russians are capturing 75% of this of Myrhorod, they still cannot capture this final 25%. Very disappointing, right? So Ukrainians also counter shell at Staromihайлivka, whereas the Russians are shelling at Krasnohorivka. So they are just shelling each other. Over here at the Neviske area, there is fighting reported near Neviske. This is reported yesterday, and but shelling continued to be reported at Neviske. The ground offenses, that is one of the rare ones, is actually reported towards Pervomaiske. This is reported by the Ukraine Defense Ministry from the direction of Pasika. So Pasika towards Pervomaiske in this direction. However, there is no success, and the Russian troops are reportedly have retreated from this position. This one is reported yesterday as well. So you can see that there is shelling reported in Vodian, Pervomaiske, and Lozove, which this is actually a sign of intention from the Russians to actually continue to push towards this direction. There you can see some shelling in the Ukrainian position, I mean the Russian controlled position in the Donetsk People's Republic. All this shelling information is reported by the Donetsk People's Republic itself. So nothing very significant to report on, if you ask me. Novobakhmutivka and Novobakhmutivka is both shelled. So this is definitely under the Donetsk People's Republic control. This is the reported by the Ukraine Defense Ministry, which is why I put this icon here and this icon here. Two different Novobakhmutivka. Again, the Ukrainians really are very bad at naming their towns 12 kilometers apart, and they are naming the same name. Yeah, this really it just makes things very difficult, right, for the taxi drivers. So otherwise, New York got shelled, and then Sumy got shelled, and Mayos got shelled. So this entire region here is under shelling as well. Not sure if this is any form of indication that the Russians might want to push towards this region. So let's wait and see. And we are now in the Bakhmut Front. At the Bakhmut Front, there is fighting reported towards Kodema from the Travneve or Travneve direction. So Travneve is here. They are pushing north. So this is not clear, where the fighting is. Is it in the city or just near this fish farm? How would this kind of place have any fish? It's such a small pond. Oh, there's a farm, so they just rear fish there. Oh yeah. So they might be around the fish farm area, or they might be actually in Kodema itself. Since we have fighting reported in the direction of Kodema, all this time, then we have no idea, what is the situation is like. There is shouting, however, reported at Kodema, so there might be a case where there is fighting at Kodema or nearby. The fighting at Zazeve is not repeated. This is still from yesterday's report, and this situation continues for most of the front. It's very quiet, and shelling reports, no point to talk about. The Bakhmutske is also not mentioned. Soledar is not mentioned. Shelling is at Soledar. Yevhenivka, not this one is should grayed out. This is already 23rd already. Myrhorod continue to be shelled somehow, and that's it from the Bakhmut Front. We are now into the Siversk Front. At the Siversk Front, we continue to get reports of shelling near Chaplyne, and Ivyumov is also getting shelled. So this might be a case where the defenses here are too strong, so the Russians are trying to shell them into a weaker form so that they can actually push through. Otherwise, they still have a lot of problems trying to push through. Oh yeah, okay, never mind, forget it. Yeah, I wanted to make some jokes, but I forget about the joke. Okay, so anyway, so shelling continues across this entire, this line, this Siversk line, and nothing significant to report about. So on to Izyum Front. At the Izyum Front, this is the wrong color. There's shelling reports everywhere, and the fighting at Myrhorod is not mentioned. However, there is a new report of fighting towards Dolyna from the direction of Pasika. So Pasika puts Dolyna. Fighting is reported by the Ukraine Defense Ministry, and you can see the entire front seems to quieten down by a lot, and then there is this shelling report from the Defense Ministry of Ukraine saying that Brezhkivka is getting shelled by the Russians. But Brezhkivka is actually under Russian control. So did the Ukrainians actually capture Brezhkivka? So very, very weird situation developing at Brezhkivka. And interestingly, Velika Komishuvakha finally get reported again. They're getting shelled by the Russian forces. But this shelling seems very all over the place. So not sure if it's accurate, because it's not difficult for any defense ministry to just report something randomly and not based on facts, and nobody would have known, and nobody can fact check. So nothing at Bulatske front. And moving on to the Kharkiv front. At the Kharkiv front, same situation. The Ukraine Defense Ministry just said shelling across the entire front line. They did not mention specific locations, so there might be a case where there is intense shelling by the Russians to a point where they just gave up reporting the locations. There might be a situation why no, because if you just 2-3 locations, you will just report the 2-3 locations. So when they say across the front line, they just too lazy to report, means that maybe there is a lot of shelling that they just don't want to talk about anymore. Otherwise, we have nothing new to report here. There's just some shellings, airstrikes on Ukrainian positions reported by Ryba, the pro-Russian source. Otherwise, we have nothing else. So this is the summary for the day of 182 for the 24th of August. So today you don't see my face. So hope those that don't like my face, you're happy. And please press the like button. And I'll see you in the next update.